You ever walk down the snack aisle and just feel overwhelmed by the choices? I mean, you've got your classic potato chips, cheese puffs, tortilla chips, pretzels. It really feels like there are dozens of different companies all fighting for your attention. But what if I told you that a huge chunk of that variety is, well, it's kind of an illusion?
So let's just get right into it. When you're standing there looking at that absolute wall of snacks, how many different companies do you think you're really choosing between? The answer is probably way, way fewer than you think, and it pretty much all comes down to one massive giant that's hiding in plain sight.
Okay, so you know the big ones. Of course you do. Lay's, Fritos, Cheetos, Doritos, Tostitos, Ruffles. I mean, that's like the Mount Rushmore of the snack world. This is the stuff most of us grew up with. No real surprises here, right?
But wait a second. Let's pull back the curtain just a little bit. What about these guys? Sun Chips, Funyuns, Cracker Jack, Grandma's Cookies, even Matador Beef Jerky and Rolled Gold Pretzels. Yep, all of them. Plus Smart Food Popcorn, they all fall under that exact same Frito-Lay umbrella. All of a sudden, that crowded snack aisle starts to look a whole lot smaller.
This is the story of how Frito-Lay got to be bigger than pretty much anyone realizes. We're going to unpack the incredible, almost unbelievable history of how this one company managed to completely dominate the American snack food industry.
And believe it or not, the story starts in the most unlikely of times, the Great Depression, with two totally separate entrepreneurs whose origin stories are so weirdly similar, you'd think they were cooked up for a Hollywood movie.
And the details here are just wild. You have two different guys, both wanting to get into the snack business, both starting by buying a small, existing company, and both paying the exact same price to get started, $100.
I mean, just look at the parallels here. You've got Elmer Doolin with his corn chips and Herman Lay with his potato chips, both getting their start during one of the worst economic times in American history, both with just $100 and a whole lot of ambition. Doolin's first factory was literally his mom's kitchen. Lay's first office was the trunk of his car. It's just an incredible story of two guys on the exact same path.
And here's a cool little detail for you. Ever wonder where the name Fritos even comes from? Well, it's just the Spanish word for fried. That's it. Doolin bought the recipe for these little Fritos from a gentleman in San Antonio who was looking to move back to Mexico. That $100 got him the recipe, the equipment, and a tiny list of customers. And it's just mind-boggling to think about how humble this beginning really was. You know, this wasn't some big venture capital-backed startup. This was a guy making chips in his mom's kitchen, selling them out of his Ford Model T, and pulling in maybe $10 on a good day. That tiny operation was the seed that grew into a multi-billion-dollar empire. Now, for years, Doolin's Frito Company and Lay's company grew totally separately, building up their own little empires in different parts of the country. But they weren't on a collision course. No, they were heading towards a partnership that would change everything.
And what's so fascinating is that they didn't really see each other as competitors at all. They saw a huge opportunity. See, the Frito Company was the king of the Southwest, while H.W. Lay & Company basically owned the Southeast. With different products and different territories, they weren't rivals. They were a perfect match.
So check this out. They both start their companies in 1932. By 1945, they realize they're stronger together, so they strike a deal to distribute each other's products. Lay's would sell Fritos in the Southeast, and Fritos would sell Lay's chips in the Southwest. Simple. And after 16 years of that working out great, they just made it official in 1961 and merged to become Frito-Lay Incorporated.
But wait, the story doesn't stop there. That merger was huge, sure, but the move that really put them into overdrive was just around the corner. This is where our soda company steps into the picture and turns Frito-Lay from a national snack maker into a global powerhouse. Just 4 years after their own merger, in 1965, Frito-Lay joins forces with Pepsi-Cola. This is the moment that creates PepsiCo, the massive food and beverage company we all know today. And it was brilliant, the perfect marriage of salty snacks and sugary drinks, a combination that would turn out to be unbelievably powerful.
So, just how powerful are we talking? Well, in 2017 alone, the North American division of Frito-Lay pulled in nearly $16 billion in sales. And that's not for all of PepsiCo. That is just the snack division in the US and Canada.
And this right here is what makes Frito-Lay so incredibly important to its parent company. While that North American division made up about a quarter of PepsiCo's sales back in 2017, it generated a staggering 42% of the company's entire operating profit. It is, by a long shot, PepsiCo's most profitable division.
The PepsiCo merger also gave them the money and the power to innovate and acquire brands like never before. The brand new company developed Doritos just 1 year after the merger. Then came Funyuns, then Tostitos, which was actually created because of customer feedback about Doritos. They bought up regional brands like Smart Food and made them national hits, and they developed totally new ones, like Sun Chips.
So, let's bring all this back to where we started, right? That walk through the grocery store. With all this history in mind, that snack aisle starts to look a little different now, doesn't it? So what this really all means is that feeling of endless choice, well, a lot of the time, it's a carefully crafted illusion. You might be choosing between Doritos or Cheetos or Sun Chips, but your money is very often ending up in the exact same pocket.
Now look, to be fair, they don't own everything. There are still some major independent players and big competitors out there. You've got brands like Pringles, Utz, and Snyder's all fighting for that same shelf space. So it's not a total monopoly or anything, but Frito-Lay's dominance is just undeniable.
And that really just sums it all up perfectly. It's this fascinating American success story that was built on a foundation so humble, it's almost hard to believe. And because the individual brands themselves are so famous, most of us never really stop to think about the sheer scale of the company that's behind them all.
So, the next time you're shopping, take a closer look. Frito-Lay is just one example. And it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other giants are hiding in plain sight, right there in your own grocery cart?